reveals his plans to his servants, the prophets.
4. There is currently a huge production of weapons of mass destruction by world powers, and some countries advance in war technology. There shall be great display of these weapons as these world powers shall flex muscles. This will create a great atmosphere of fear worldwide. But be still and know I am God.
Our top focus tonight comes from the Korean Peninsula. The region has been in the news for weeks now, thanks to North Korea's repeated missile launches. Today was a day of fresh escalation. North Korea has fired over 20 missiles, 23 to be precise. South Korea responded, it fired 3 missiles, but that's just one part of the story. What is brewing behind the scenes? Why is North Korea upping the ante, and why now? What is the trigger for this fresh escalation in the tensions? That is our top focus.
미사일이 울릉도 주변에 떨어졌다 합니다. 그래가지고 당분간 오전에 전부 나가지 마시기 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
What you just saw was unprecedented. South Koreans on the island of Uleong woke up to an air raid alert today because North Korea fired a flurry of missiles. Not one, not two, but at least 23 missiles were launched. 17 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon. And that was not all. Pyongyang fired about 100 artillery shells as well. This escalation forced South Korea to respond, and Seoul dispatched fighter jets. And they fired missiles as well. Such an exchange has not happened since Korea was divided. What does this mean for the region? That is our cover story tonight. So here's what happened today. North Korea fired several short-range missiles. One of them landed less than 60 kilometers off the city of Sokcho. And this was dangerously close to the Uleong-do island. This is South Korean territory. It set off air raid sirens. Some 9,000 people live there, and the residents were asked to rush to underground shelters. No one was hurt. But why does this matter? Because the north breached the northern limit line. This is the de facto border between the north and the south. It was drawn by the United Nations at the end of the Korean War. The North Korean missile breached this border. South Korea sees today's events as a serious provocation. Its President Yoon Suk-yeol called it a territorial invasion.
Since 8:51 a.m. today, North Korea launched 3 ballistic missiles, and one of them landed in the East Sea, south of the northern limit line. Today's launch is the first time a North Korean missile landed near our territorial waters, south of the NLL. And this is unprecedented and unacceptable. Our military will respond sternly to this act.
And this was their response. South Korean fighter jets took flight. They fired air-to-land missiles. These were precision strikes. The missiles landed in international waters, but they were not too far from North Korea's own territorial waters. Seoul has made its position clear. It blames Pyongyang for the rising tensions.
North Korea is the one that is heightening the tension in the Korean Peninsula by strengthening its nuclear program and carrying out provocations. These acts, for any reasons, are unacceptable, and North Korea is responsible.
Now, there has been a slew of reactions. Neighbor Japan termed North Korea's actions utterly unacceptable. China called for peace and stability. Russia urged both sides to remain calm, the security situation has rapidly worsened in the recent months. It started with Kim Jong-un resuming missile tests. He has been personally supervising them. Before today, Pyongyang launched about 24 missiles. That is the most number of launches in a single year. Last week, warning shots were fired by the militaries of the North and the South. Again, this happened along the maritime border. Pyongyang is challenging Tokyo as well. Last month, North Korea fired a missile over Japan. This happened for the first time in 5 years. Why have the tensions suddenly escalated? Well, there are two reasons. Reason number one, North Korea feels threatened by the US military activities in the region. 2 days ago, America and South Korea started a joint military drill. It happens every year. The scale is massive. At least 240 aircraft, thousands of military personnel are involved. The planes will perform about 1,600 sorties. And North Korea was quick to condemn this exercise. It called them a rehearsal for an invasion of the North. Consider this recent statement from Pyongyang. If the United States continuously persists in the grave military provocations, the DPRK will take into account more powerful follow-up measures. Reason number two, Pyongyang is engaging in pressure tactics. South Korea's Yoon has vowed to take a hard line against the North. It was one of his key campaign promises. He has described North Korea as the main enemy. Last week, the South Korean president said this to the country's parliament.
We will strengthen deterrence against North Korea with overwhelming capabilities through combined defense posture between South Korea and the US and the trilateral security cooperation between South Korea, US and Japan so that our people can continue their daily lives without worries.
강화할 것입니다.
Strengthening deterrence and rallying allies. Yoon is clearly in no mood to make any concessions to the North, and today the South Korean president summoned his military. He wants them to ensure that North Korea pays a price for its provocation. But is he playing into the hands of North Korea? Experts believe today's missile launch could be a scare tactic. By triggering air raid sirens, Pyongyang can threaten South Koreans. What will North Korea get out of this? It might put pressure on Seoul and force the Yoon government to change its approach. If that was the objective behind today's actions, the missile launches have clearly boomeranged on Pyongyang. South Korea wasted no time. It went on the offensive and quickly mounted a military response. Seoul has the overwhelming support of its allies as well. And the ball is now in Kim Jong-un's court. Will he continue to escalate the tensions or dial them down? We will be keeping a close eye on his next move.